Hello everyone, thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. Again, I am back with another Monday mystery video. Today's video will be a video concentrating around a case that recently started to get a lot of attention again, and that's going to be the Bobbie Jo Stinnett murder. Okay, so the reason to why this case has been getting a lot of attention recently is because the perpetrator in this case, who is Lisa Montgomery, she recently got executed through lethal injection. So she was on death row. Okay, so she is the first woman to be executed in 67 years through death row, and the first person to be executed in 2021. So let's just get into the case. So we will be talking about Bobbie Jo first. Bobbie Jo was born on December 4th, 1981 in Skidmore, Missouri. So Bobbie Jo was known to be a very intelligent and sweet woman. A lot of people say that she was always kind to everyone, and she honestly was just the type of person that you just knew she was going to be great in life. And one of the things that Bobbie really wanted out of life was to be a mother. She had met her husband Sepp when they were very young. They were actually known to be childhood sweethearts, and they went to high school together. They were high school sweethearts as well, and they ended up getting married 1 year before her death. So of course, friends and family say that these two were really great together. They really loved each other. They were kind to not only themselves, but to everyone around them. And people love to be around the couple. And in 2004, they were super excited when they found out that Bobbie Jo was pregnant with her first child. So Bobbie Jo and Sepp both worked. Bobbie Jo worked at the Kamikaze Manufacturing Company, and on the side they actually had their own little job where they would breed dogs and then sell them. So the couple had their own actual rat terrier, which was their dog, and they ended up breeding their own dogs and selling them. And this was kind of like the little side money. I mean, they had a baby on the way, they wanted to make more money, and especially throughout the last couple of months where, you know, she left for maternity leave, she has this income to help them out. Of course, like I said, this couple loved their dogs, they loved this type of breed, and Bobbie Jo spent a lot of time talking to people in this chat room called Rat or Chatter, and in this chat room all of these people had this type of breed. So they were all rat terrier lovers. They all bred or had rat terrier dogs, and they kind of just talked to each other, had that in common, became friends, and they would go to places together like events, dog shows. People in this chat room became friends, and Bobbie Jo was part of that group. So in December of 2004, Bobbie Jo was getting ready to pretty much give birth. She was a month away from giving birth to her baby. And, you know, during all this time of her being in the chat room, she would tell people about her dogs, her life, about the fact that she was very, very excited to be giving birth to a baby soon. And throughout this time, she befriended this woman by the name of Lisa Montgomery. And of course, you guys already know by the beginning of this title who Lisa ends up being in this case. But, you know, at this time, Bobbie Jo, being the friendly person that she is, befriended Lisa, and they would talk about a lot of things together. They would talk about their dogs, their life. And one of the things that they talked about too was the fact that they were both expecting babies. Lisa ended up telling Bobbie Jo that she was a few months away from giving birth too. They were around the same time, or so Lisa said. And she was very excited to be giving birth to her kid. She was like very excited to be a mother. And of course, Bobbie Jo, I mean, she connected with this person and she felt like they had something in common and that they could possibly talk to each other about what they were experiencing. So during this time, Lisa, of course, was telling Bobbie Jo that she was pregnant. She would tell other people in the chat room that she was pregnant with twins. And then eventually she ended up telling them that one of the twins died. So she only had one baby left. Bobbie Jo, of course, knew this as well. And, you know, she felt bad for her. She was a mom. She was waiting to give birth to her baby too. And she could, I mean, pretty sure she could only imagine, and she was fearful about the fact that if that was happening to her, it would be heartbreaking. So of course she supported Lisa. She you know, she was there for Lisa. She was a great person, so she had nothing else to do but to support this person who she's befriended on the internet. Of course, a lot of people in the chat room were really surprised about the fact that Lisa was pregnant, because, you know, Bobbie Jo, you could tell she was pregnant. She would post pictures. She, you know, she seemed like a pregnant person waiting to give birth at any moment. Lisa, on the other hand, did not post pictures of her baby or of her with her pregnancy, which, I mean, I guess I can understand, because I mean, chat rooms were so different back then. People used to put everything out there. I mean, I used to have MySpace, and I remember the things I used to put, like, oh my God, I'm really surprised that I didn't get into more trouble. But so people were really turned off by the fact that Lisa said she was pregnant and said that she was really happy to be pregnant and expecting, but would never post anything about her pregnancy, like pregnancy pictures or basically proof that she was pregnant. Now, in December of 2004, Bobbie Jo's dog ended up giving birth to a couple of puppies, and she was pretty much getting ready to sell them all. She was reaching out to people and letting them know that, you know, her dog had just given birth to puppies, and that she was looking for people that were wanting to buy any of the dogs. So during this time, you know, Bobbie Jo would spend her time at home. People would go over, take a look at the puppies, let Bobbie Jo know if they wanted to buy one or maybe not, you know, refer friends over. So it wasn't uncommon for Bobbie Jo to be home alone while people would go over to look at the dogs. Around this time, a woman by the name of Darlene Fisher, her username was Fisher for Kids, she reached out to Bobbie Jo in the chat room, letting her know that she was looking into possibly buying a puppy and that she was interested in Bobbie Jo's puppies. Darlene and Bobbie Jo ended up kind of talking about the options that, you know, Darlene had with the puppies. Darlene ended up letting Bobbie Jo know her address, where pretty much they realized that they only lived about 15 to 25 minutes apart. So they ended up setting up a date so that this person by the name of Darlene Fisher could go and look at the puppies to see if she was gonna buy one. On the 16th of December of 2004, Bobbie Jo, like any other day, was home alone. So around 2:15 p.m., Bobbie Jo was on the phone with her mom talking about their plans. They had decided that Bobbie Jo's mom was going to stop by later on that day so they can kind of go shopping, spend some time together. You know, it was really exciting. Bobbie Jo was going to give birth anytime, and well, she was a month away. And I mean, mother-daughter time, you know. Around 2:30, Bobbie Jo heard a knock on her door and told her mom, you know what, I think Darlene Fisher, the woman that's supposed to meet me, is here. I'm gonna hang up and talk to you later. So that was the last time that her mom actually ever talked to Bobbie Jo. So around 3:30 p.m., which was an hour after the phone call, Bobbie Jo's mom, Becky, showed up to Bobbie Jo's house. She ended up going into the house where she literally discovered every parent's worst nightmare. I mean, she literally went inside the house and saw that Bobbie Jo was dead on the floor. She saw that Bobbie Jo was covered in blood. She had blonde hair, so her hands were actually like fisted, and she had blonde hair wrapped around her fingers. And she ended up calling 911 to let them know that her daughter was pretty much dead on the floor. I mean, there was blood everywhere. Bobbie Jo's mom, Becky, ended up telling the 911 responder that it seemed like her stomach had exploded. I mean, that's such a graphic and horrible image to even think of. Becky had also told them that Bobbie Jo's stomach was pretty much sliced open and that the baby she was supposed to be giving birth to in a month was missing. When first responders arrived, they realized that there was nothing they could do for Bobbie Jo. They ended up declaring her dead at 4:47 p.m. Police officers now have a woman who was murdered in her home, and they have a baby that's missing, and they literally do not even know where to start. They ended up putting out an Amber Alert for this baby or infant, which an Amber Alert, of course, for those of you who do not know, it's just an alert that goes out to everybody in a certain area that someone has been abducted or is missing. It gives them a brief description of the person and kind of lets them know to keep an eye out. In the beginning, police officers did not want to put out an Amber Alert because this baby was an infant. They had no idea what to even look out for because of the fact that she was literally taken from her mom's stomach. I mean, what can you even expect? But they ended up putting one out because this baby was missing. Someone had taken the baby and they had nowhere to really start. So why not just put it out there? You know, police officers and detectives are going around the neighborhood kind of figuring out if they saw anything weird, if they heard anything weird. You know, you have to start right there. So one of the neighbors had told the detectives that he saw a red car parked outside of Bobbie Jo's house in her driveway around 2:30 p.m. And the reason to why this car stood out to him was because of the fact that it was a red car that they had never seen before, and it was really dirty. When detectives start to kind of link everything together, they realize that Bobbie Jo's mom, Becky, had stated that she heard a knock at 2:30 p.m. and the neighbor had stated he saw a car at 2:30 p.m. So that initially led them to believe that the person that knocked on the door was most likely the person that attacked and murdered Bobbie Jo and also had the baby. The media starts to put the story everywhere. It blows up. People everywhere know, and the chat room that Bobbie Jo used to join every day ends up finding out. One of the women in the chat room, her name was Diane, she ended up being completely devastated by the news. She was one of Bobbie Jo's, I guess, closest friends in the chat room. They really clicked, they became friends, they talked all the time, and she really was like, okay, let's figure out what's going on here. She went through the chat room. She noticed that Bobbie Jo talked a lot to this woman by the name of Darlene, and she just told police officers, look, this woman Darlene on the chat room, she goes by this name. She told Bobbie Jo that she wanted to meet her on this day, which was that day, to see if she wanted to buy one of the puppies that Bobbie Jo was selling. Detectives ended up looking for this person by the name of Darlene, who claimed that she was from Fairfax. And when they did a little investigating, they discovered that this person, Darlene from Fairfax, did not exist. So obviously they knew that's a red flag. We got to look into who this person really is. They end up tracing the IP address and find out that it matches a person by the name of Lisa Montgomery from Kansas. Then detectives start looking into Lisa Montgomery. You know, why is she creating two different usernames? Who is she trying to portray? You know, what's going on here? This person is, you know, lying about who she really is. They end up finding out that Lisa, you know, lives in Kansas. They go over to Lisa's house the next day, and lo and behold, they see a red car arriving to her house. When detectives get out to talk to Lisa and her husband Kevin, they find out that Lisa is holding a newborn baby in her arms. Detectives end up asking Lisa, you know, who is this baby? Is this your baby? Is this someone else's baby? What's going on here? Lisa tells them the same story that she's told her husband and that she's told her family and friends, that on the 16th of December, which was the day prior to that day, Lisa was grocery shopping in Topeka, Kansas, and that she ended up getting contractions and almost going into labor in the supermarket. They end up rushing her to the Birth and Women's Center, where she ended up delivering a baby girl by the name of Abigail. Then after she gave birth, she ended up calling her husband Kevin, and of course he was really excited, so he went over and picked her up. And that was the story she had told them. The detectives are looking into what's really going on. They're like, okay, let's make sure that this is a real story. They end up calling the Birth and Women's Center and kind of just letting them know, hey, this is the case. Was this person in your hospital a couple days ago? Did she end up giving birth there? To where the workers were like, no, we don't even know who this person is. We have nothing that matches that description. Nobody ended up being rushed here. after they almost gave birth in the grocery store. We don't have this person that you're talking about in our system. So of course the detectives are like, whoa, 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 what the hell's going on here? And they end up going back to Darlene, or actually Lisa, because she's Lisa at this time. And they end up going back to Lisa and telling her, hey, you know, we spoke to the clinic. They told us that this story is not true. They don't have anybody under that name. What's going on? Tell us the truth. And of course, Lisa ends up breaking down and telling them everything that happened, and that she did actually murder Bobbie Jo and kidnap the baby. Lisa's husband, Kevin, was completely surprised and devastated. I mean, he just found out that, one, his wife was lying to him, and two, she literally murdered a woman and took the woman's baby. And detectives ended up taking the baby girl, and they ended up getting her, you know, they did DNA tests, and they realized that she was Bobbie Jo's daughter. And thankfully, you know, they were able to give the baby back to the dad and Bobbie Jo's family. So Bobbie Jo's husband, Zeb, ended up getting the baby back, and he named the baby Victoria Jo Stinnett. And before I move forward, I just want to kind of go back to Lisa Montgomery. We're going to talk a little bit about her and her life, and I just want to put it out there that while I talk about her, I am in no way trying to defend her or stand up for her. She did what she did, which was horrible, and I just kind of want to give you guys a little backstory about who she is and maybe what she went through in life. But again, no, I am not defending her. So Lisa Montgomery was born on February 27th, 1968. At the time that she committed this murder, she was 36 years old. It is known that Lisa had a really bad childhood. Her stepdad raped her, abused her, hit her. He did all these things to her. And eventually her mom ended up finding out that her stepdad was doing all these things to her, and her mom ended up threatening Lisa, telling her that if she told anybody, she was pretty much going to kill her. So Lisa did not have anybody that she could count on when she was younger. It is known that Lisa struggled a lot with this, and to kind of escape and cope, she started drinking at a really young age, and it eventually became a problem. She did end up having an alcohol problem. So in 1986, Lisa ended up marrying her first husband by the name of Carl, and they ended up having 4 children. It is known that Lisa really wanted to be a mom. That's something that she definitely looked forward to. But when she gave birth to her 4th child, the baby was born prematurely, and she and the baby had a lot of health problems. Okay, I hope I say this right. Don't come for me, doctors. But the doctor ended up advising her to have a tubal ligation, which is pretty much when the fallopian tubes are either cut, tied, or blocked, so that she won't be able to get pregnant ever again. Lisa knew about these consequences, about the fact that she was not going to be able to get pregnant again, but she still decided to have this surgery. However, Lisa still told people that she was pregnant. It is believed that through her first marriage, she told people she was pregnant at least 2 to 3 times, which her husband Carl knew that it was a lie. Carl also did say that Lisa cheated on him numerous times. Of course, after lies, cheating, they ended up divorcing in 1998. In the year 2000, Lisa ended up meeting a guy by the name of Kevin, and they ended up getting together and getting married. And Kevin had kids of his own, Lisa had kids of her own, and together they had a total of 7 kids. After getting married, they moved to Kansas. And of course, like I said before, Lisa really wanted to be a mom. She told everyone that she loved being a mom. However, neighbors stated that she was not that good of a mom. It is known that her kids usually were dirty, that they kind of had to take care of themselves. And I mean, I don't know about you, but if I really wanted to be a mom, I would make sure my kids are clean and good to go, you know? But hey, to each their own. Actually, no, I mean, children should be taken care of. So now Kevin had told detectives that Lisa had claimed to be pregnant 3 different times, and that each time she ended up having to abort the baby due to health complications. He knew about Lisa's surgery, but he was not aware about the fact that she could not have kids. I guess he didn't know what the tubal litigation was or what happened. He kind of just took her word and went with it. And I mean, more than anything, he felt bad that his wife was struggling with these pregnancies. The third time she had stated she was pregnant was in 2004. She literally told everyone she was pregnant. Everybody was really happy for her. She wore loose shirts to seem like she was kind of growing. I don't know if she wore like a fake belly or anything like that. I could not find that anywhere. And she also would print out ultrasound pictures from the internet and kind of show them around and acting like they were hers, like, hey, this is my baby. So in 2004, Lisa and her first husband, Carl, were going through a custody battle. Carl was fighting for full custody of his children, and it is believed that he threatened Lisa with the fake pregnancies that she had created before. He pretty much stated that he was going to use them to his advantage in court and kind of just show that she was mentally not all there. And obviously in 2004, Lisa had told people that she was pregnant, so she pretty much had to come up with a plan to prove that she was pregnant or show that she was pregnant. So then of course, Lisa ended up creating the fake profile of Darlene, where she ended up befriending Bobbie Jo and pretending she was this other person trying to buy a puppy. Of course, Bobbie Jo had no idea that this person was Lisa Montgomery. Now, in this part of the case, we are going to talk about what Lisa stated happened when she arrived to Bobbie Jo's house. So, of course, we are going to be talking about the murder and what Lisa did to commit the murder. So, if this is not for you, skip forward. I will try to put the time of when this part is over, but let's get to it. So it is known that Lisa arrived at Bobbie Jo's house at 2:30 p.m. Bobbie Jo opened up the door for Lisa and they both walked in together, and Lisa stated that Bobbie Jo turned away to kind of, lead the way to the inside of her home. And at that time, Lisa ended up putting a rope that she had around Bobbie Jo's neck and choking her to death. She stated that she ended up dropping Bobbie Jo to the ground and that she ended up getting a kitchen knife and pretty much carving the baby out of his stomach. It's known that Lisa ended up looking at videos of how to complete a C-section type of surgery so that she knew how to get the baby out of Bobbie Jo's stomach. Now, I don't know how you even have those videos or look those videos up. I mean, that's insane. I can't even imagine that being out there. But she ended up looking at those videos before she arrived to Bobbie Jo's house. So that is pretty much how she ended up getting the baby out of the stomach, and she cut the umbilical cord. So then of course she takes the baby and she goes back home, where she ends up telling her husband about everything that happened. That story that she had created. Then on the 17th of December, she ended up admitting to everything she did, and then she ended up getting arrested. Now, I don't know why, she ended up pleading not guilty. Of course, they were gonna fight for her to get the death penalty. The defense attorney ended up pursuing an insanity defense. They pretty much stated that because of everything she went through throughout her childhood, she was mentally not capable of standing a normal trial, and that's why she committed all these things and she killed Bobbie Jo and took the baby. They also stated that she most likely was experiencing a phantom pregnancy. So the phantom pregnancy is when the body mimics a normal pregnancy. So you normally would think that you are pregnant, you're having symptoms, you feel like you're pregnant, but in reality there is no baby and you're not pregnant. They also said that she struggled with a couple of different mental illnesses. She had depression, borderline personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress. Of course, they just stated that she could not be held responsible because all of these things caused her mental illness. The prosecution team ended up stating that while yes, she did have a really bad childhood and she most likely did struggle with some sort of mental illness, she planned this murder out. She literally created a fake profile. She initiated that she wanted to buy a puppy. She created this life for months, and then she ended up looking at videos of how to complete a C-section. The prosecution team also stated that she most likely committed all this because of the fact that her husband Carl was trying to get full custody of the children and that he had threatened her about all the lies she had told. So then the jury deliberated for 5 hours, and after they came back out, and of course they said she was guilty and they were recommending the death penalty. Then on October 27, 2007, 3 years after the murder of Bobbie Jo, Lisa Montgomery was sentenced to death. Of course, year after year, she tried to appeal her sentence. She tried to fight to get off of death row. But on January 13th, 2021, she was executed by lethal injection. She was pronounced dead at 1:31 a.m. And when they asked her if she had any last words, she just stated no. She was also the first female federal prisoner who was executed after 67 years. And of course, she was the first person to be executed in 2021. Bobbie Jo was laid to rest in the Hillcrest Cemetery, and over 400 people were at her memorial service. Now, her baby girl, Victoria, she is now a teenager, and she lives a very private but beautiful life with her family. You know, they take really good care of her, and they just try to protect her from the press and from people. And more than anything, I think they just try to protect her from, I guess, the awfulness that can come with cases like these. Some people just don't have any sort of sympathy or respect for family members that are going through these type of cases. I just wanted to make a video on it because, one, it's unfortunate and sad how Bobbie Jo passed away. And I think that we should be able to remember about the fact that, you know, she gave birth to a baby who's still alive. And more than anything, she was loved, and she will always be remembered by her family and friends. And the second reason too I wanted to make this video is because of the fact that death row and death sentences are a big subject here in the United States. You know, we've done them for years, and I just always think that it's important for the public to know what's going on and where our tax money is going to. Again, this case has just been in the media a lot because of the fact that Lisa Montgomery was recently executed. So yeah, you guys, just remember to take care of yourselves and take care of your family, and let me know what you guys think about this case, and let me know what other videos you guys would like me to make, and have a good day.